I'm Superintendent Brad Skirtich, and it's a privilege to be standing here this evening. I want to thank everyone for attending the Class of 2023 inaugural Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Our district is a special place because of the pride, support, and passion shown to our students and staff by our families and communities. As we induct the inaugural class into the Collinsville Community Unit School District Number 10 Hall of Fame, we are excited to share the amazing accomplishments of our students, staff, community members, and of course our alumni. I want to thank our student volunteers tonight. They will be escorting recipients to the stage and handing out awards throughout the evening. We are grateful for their assistance and excited tonight will serve as a bridge between generations and allow current high school students to see what is possible in their future while celebrating the achievements of our alumni. There are a lot of people that put countless hours into making the Hall of Fame a reality. To thank them all would take quite some time, and we have a busy program. But I want to give a special thank you to the Gateway Convention Center in the city of Collinsville, Kim Collins, Susan Freckman, and Jan Marie Harmon, and Mark Alvers. I also want to thank our Board of Education for their support on this initiative. We would not be here tonight without you and your support. Additionally, the Hall of Fame Committee put in a lot of time to review and select the inaugural class. Absent of each of these individuals and groups, of your love for our school district and your passion for education, we are not here this evening. Thank you for bleeding purple. Last, before I turn the microphone over to Clay Smith, CHS class of 5, I want to thank him for his efforts over the past year. Balancing work, family, and the effort it took to get to this point was a lot. It was not easy, but this special evening has finally arrived. Thank you, Clay, and I'll turn the mic over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Skirtich. Much appreciated. This night is truly a dream come true. When Dr. Skirtich was hired as superintendent in the Collinsville School District, we had our first meeting together this summer before the school year began. We had a great conversation sharing stories of our athletic and academic careers that got us to this point in our lives. We ended the meeting discussing our vision for the Collinsville School District between a superintendent and an athletic director of what we wanted to achieve. Number one, we want to continue to win state championships. There are many state champions in this room tonight, and you all know the feelings, the emotions, and the memories that those championships create. And a side note, not on my script, speaking of state championships, let's send positive vibes to our girls bowling team. They are currently in Rockford, preparing for the state finals tomorrow and Saturday. So hopefully when I leave Rockford on Saturday, I can call our good friends at the city and we can get the fire trucks ready and welcome them with the trophy like our 2010 girls bowling team who's in attendance tonight. Second, we want to improve our facilities. Our school district has had and continues to develop projects to create the best learning environment for our students, both in the classroom and out. These projects will continue to happen for the future of our students and their families. And three, we wanted to create the Kahok Hall of Fame. As you know, and as you will continue to hear, our Collinsville community has great stories to share. The pride, history, and tradition of Collinsville is like no other. I pride myself as athletic director at Collinsville High School to teach our current students of who has come before them and the accomplishments that they have made. Our students need to hear these stories tonight that are going to be shared. They need to share these stories with their peers in the hallways, in our community, and with their families. That is very important to me, and it is very important for our kids to hear. Thank you to our Board of Education for making this vision become a reality. Thank you to Dr. Skurdich, our community, and everyone in attendance tonight to get this off the ground. And lastly, thank you to all of our inductees and their families that are here this evening. While many of you are still in the area and call Collinsville your home, we realize that some of you are not. One thing is certain: the love for our Kahok purple is shared no matter where you call home, and that is evident by the amount of people in this room and the memories that you cherish. Thank you very much, and enjoy the evening.
Now it is time to introduce our Billy Crystal for the evening. We are truly grateful Mark Shusky was willing to host tonight's event. His voice is one we have come to expect and look forward to at honors convocation and graduation. Paired with Mark's passion for the community, our students, and his quick wit, there was no one we would rather have serve as our host this evening and celebrate our district's rich history, as Clay alluded to. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Mark Shusky, class of 1991.
All right, thank you. I would rather have Billy Crystal here, but thank you very much to both Clay and Brad for their remarks and introduction this evening. I know tonight will be a night of much applause, but I do want to personally thank each of them for being the driving forces in turning the vision for a Kahok Hall of Fame into a reality. Without their leadership, tonight's event wouldn't have happened, and it's about time that it did. For that, I think they both deserve our gratitude and a hearty round of applause, and I know they both have mine. It is incredible to see what those two working together have accomplished, and I know will. Tonight, we will honor the past and celebrate the present to build an even brighter future for this community. As we turn to the awards and your food, I have to say how humbled I am to have been asked to play a part in this event. I'm honored and fairly nervous to help host tonight's ceremonies, but I also certainly know no one is here to hear me, so I will keep it short, just like we're asking all of our speakers tonight as well to do. So the list of individuals and teams worthy of induction into the Kahok Hall of Fame is quite lengthy. So in order to recognize as many accomplished members of our Kahok family as we can, 6 of our Hall of Fame inductions will occur during dinner this evening. We're calling this the Legacy Award portion of tonight. And as you enjoy your food, we would also ask that you view the videos that will be playing honoring these individuals and teams. We will also be presenting awards to representatives of these inductees while you enjoy your dinner. Then, after dinner, we will begin the next portion of our Hall of Fame inductions. Now, though, we turn to our first award recipient of the evening, an athletic inductee, the first inductee into our Kahok Hall of Fame, Mr. Arthur Fletcher.
Arthur Fletcher was born in Collinsville on January 5th, 1885. He attended Old Madison County High School, where he was a track star and a pitcher on the high school baseball team. He lived at 1200 West Main Street in Collinsville his entire life. After high school, he attended business school in St. Louis and played baseball for the Collinsville Reds, a semi-pro team. At the age of 22, Fletcher was given a tryout with Dallas of the Texas League. He played shortstop in Dallas for 2 seasons, and then went to play for the New York Giants in 1909, where he ended up playing professional baseball for 12 years. He hit .319 in 1911, but his best overall season was 1913, when he hit .297, collecting 160 hits and 71 RBIs. He was the shortstop for the 1916 team, who won 26 consecutive games, and in 1917 and 1918 was the best fielding shortstop in the National League. He played in 4 World Series with the Giants. After his playing career, Fletcher went on to be the manager for the Phillies in 1923 for 3 years. In 1926, he became a coach for the New York Yankees. He was offered the manager's job, but turned it down because he preferred to be a coach and to be with his family more. As a coach for the Yankees, Fletcher participated in 10 World Series, including 6 World Championships. During his coaching career, he coached such legends as Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Joe DiMaggio. When Arthur Fletcher died in Los Angeles of a heart attack on February 6, 1950, it was reported that he had cashed more World Series checks than anyone in the history of baseball.
So accepting on behalf of Mr. Fletcher is Aileen Hill.
Right, oh, no, right here. You gotta-
Gotta look out there. Like, look towards her. There you go. All right, thumbs up. Thanks, Aileen. Our next inductee of the evening is a distinguished inductee, Moses Harrison II.
Former Illinois Supreme Court Chief Justice Moses W. Harrison II was a member of the Collinsville Township High School class of 1950. He was a member of the 1950 Kahok basketball team that won 4th place in the state tournament. He remembered the excitement of the tournament and what it was like to play for Coach Virgil Fletcher. He graduated from Colorado College with a degree in political science and earned his law degree at Washington University in St. Louis. After the private practice of law in Collinsville, he became a circuit judge in 1973. He served 6 years in the 3rd Judicial Circuit before moving to the 5th District Appellate Court in 1979. He was elected to the Supreme Court of Illinois in 1992. Justice Harrison was selected to serve as Chief Justice for a 3-year term, beginning January 1st, 2000. He retired from judicial service in 2002. A Chicago Tribune profile in 1999 described Moses W. Harrison II as a gentleman rebel, a distinctly gracious man whose convictions are firm and manners mild. During his tenure as Chief Justice, he advocated against the death penalty. He appeared on 60 Minutes with Mike Wallace to discuss the Illinois death penalty, and in the movie Too Flawed to Fix, the Illinois death penalty experience. When asked how he saw his role, he said, "People often ask how I see my role as a judge. It is to protect ordinary citizens against wrongdoing by the government, large corporations, and powerful individuals." Justice Harrison was offered many awards, but chose to accept only a few. The Justinian Society named an award in his honor, the Moses W. Harrison Award, which is given to an outstanding lawyer each year. Moses W. Harrison II died in 2013 at the age of 81.
And accepting tonight on Mr. Harrison's behalf is Clarence Harrison. All right, thumbs up. Thank you. Our next inductee of the evening are athletic inductees, the 1941 baseball team, coached by Lawson Fletcher and Coach McDonald, along with teammates Henry Eversman, Arthur Kuhlman, players Hubers and Ross, Fred Miller, Roger Lockman, Bill Kamashak, Tony Garnero, George Gillespie, Marion Kosensky, Stanley Kosensky, Louis Molinar, Louis Naputi, Elmer Oberto, Pete Peruca, Robert Richter, Milton Schweier, Herbert Sommerfelt, Hubert Thomas, Elmer Czar, managers Charles Marciando, Gerald Jones, and Doyle Nicholas, and E. Gavilet.
The 1940-41 Collinsville Kahok baseball team won the first state championship in school history. In June 1941, the Kahawks defeated Peoria Central 9-8 in the final game of the state series by scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Hubert Thomas hit the game-winning single with 2 outs and the bases loaded to deliver the 2 runs needed for victory. Tony Garnero's pitching and hitting stood out for the Kahawks. He fanned 14 batters and issued only 3 walks. In spite of 5 Collinsville errors, Garnero's pitching was so effective that there were only 4 assists on the team, with the hurler himself making 3 of them. Garnero was also the pitcher in Collinsville's first game in the state tournament, with southpaw Lou Molinar pitching for the Kahawks in the semifinal game against Streeter. The team was coached by coaches Lawson Fletcher and McDonald. Directly after graduation, many members went to fight in World War II.
All right, accepting on the team's behalf is PJ Peruka, Gary Eversman, and Sandy DeStefano. And then we have baseball team awards for you. Thanks. And if you step forward just a little bit, we have our photographer there at the end. Lovely smiles. Show that award off. And you got a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You're good. Thank you, thank you. As people were researching all of these inductees, it was just remarkable to me. One of the comments made about the 41 baseball team was that, almost literally days after they won the first state championship in Collinsville's history, most of them were drafted. And as the video said, but just remarkable to think about, and an incredible generation. Our next inductee of the evening is an athletic inductee, Mr. George Musso.
George Francis Musso was born and raised in Collinsville, Illinois. He was a 4-letter athlete at Collinsville High School and later at Millikan University. He played professional football for the Chicago Bears during their greatest era and is in the NFL Hall of Fame. At Collinsville High School, Musso was a 4-sport legend in football, basketball, baseball, and track. He won the state javelin championship for CHS his senior year. Musso graduated CHS in 1929 and was offered a grant to attend Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois, where he was a standout athlete in several sports. Musso is the only NFL player to have played against 2 future U.S. presidents, Ronald Reagan and Gerald Ford. In 1933, the college team played in the East-West Conference in Chicago, where Musso was noticed by George Halas, scout of the Chicago Bears. Halas, not convinced Musso could be a good player because of graduating from a small school, offered Musso a contract at $90 per game to play. Musso took the offer. With hard work and training, Musso became one of the best players during the Chicago Bears' greatest era. The Chicago Bears were known as the Monsters of the Midway, and one reason for that was because of the size of Musso, 6'2", 270 pounds. George was the first player to win All-NFL at 2 positions, tackle in 1935 and guard in 1937. Musso was an inspirational team leader and captained the Bears for 9 seasons. He played in several NFL championship games, but his most memorable was the championship game of 1940, Bears 73, Washington 0. In 1982, Musso received the ultimate accolade for a football player when he was voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. His enshrinement by the Veterans Committee came 37 years after he retired. For much of his NFL career, he was a deputy for the Madison County Sheriff's Department. Upon retiring from football, he was the sheriff for the county on 2 separate occasions and also a 3-term county treasurer. He passed away on September 2nd, 2000, at the age of 90.
All right, thank you. Accepting on Mr. Musso's behalf are Linda Ruddy and Joanne Robinson. All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. And I promise, not all of the videos are my voice. Hopefully that's it, in fact. Our next inductee for the evening is an athletic inductee, Terry Bethel.
6'7" Terry Bethel, a 1957 Collinsville graduate, played basketball for the Kahawks and capped his prep career with the Kahawks' second-place finish in the IHSA state tournament in 1957. Bethel was the team's standout, earning All-American honors in 1957 and All-State honors in 1956 and 57. The Kahawks were 78-8 during the Bethel years. In his career, which ran from the 53-54 season through the 56-57 season, Bethel averaged 20 points per game. Many of his Collinsville High School records stand today. Most points in one season at 918. Most free throws made in one season with 276. Most free throws made in a career at 621. Most free throw attempts in one season with 364. Most free throw attempts in a career at 818. And most offensive rebounds in a career with 350. His conference scoring record 304 points and state tournament record for most consecutive free throws made in a game at 18 also remain. Bethel was voted into the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Basketball Museum Hall of Fame in 1981 and was named among the initial class of inductees into the Illinois High School Basketball Hall of Fame in 2011. Terry Bethel was an Army Ranger, serving in the 101st Airborne Division for 2 tours in Vietnam. He received 2 Army Commendation Medals for his exceptional, meritorious service. Terry passed away on January 26, 2012, at the age of 72.
And accepting on Mr. Bethel's behalf is Dr. Bambi Bethel. And our next inductee of the evening is an athletic inductee, Walter Hoot Evers.
1938 Collinsville Township High School graduate Walter Hoot Evers took his nickname from his childhood cowboy movie hero, Hoot Gibson. In high school, Evers lettered in basketball, football, and track. He could launch the javelin farther than anyone else at track meets. He was a triple threat quarterback in football and an all-state forward who helped the Kahawks make it to the 1937 basketball state tournament where they finished in 3rd place. His favorite sport was baseball. Unfortunately, there was a period when Collinsville Township High School didn't have a baseball team, so Hoot was unable to play for the school. At the University of Illinois, Evers was the most versatile athlete on campus. From 1939 to 1940, Evers led the Big Ten in total bases, runs, triples, home runs, and RBIs. Following his remarkable sophomore year, Hoot was offered multiple opportunities to quit college and play professional baseball. He signed with the Detroit Tigers in 1941, but soon opted to enlist in the U.S. Army, where he was assigned to the Army Air Corps in Texas for the next 3 years. Hoot Evers returned to professional baseball after his military service and played from 1946 to 1956 for 5 different teams: Detroit, Boston, the New York Giants, Baltimore, and Cleveland. In total, he played in 1,142 games with a career batting average of .278, 98 home runs, 565 runs batted in, and 1,055 hits. He was a 2-time All-Star in 1948 and 1950. At the peak of his career, in 1950, he led the American League with a .997 fielding percentage in the outfield and committed just 1 error in 341 chances. After his playing days, Hoot served as a scout, coach, and executive for the Cleveland Indians from 1957 to 1970 and director of player development for the Detroit Tigers from 1970 to 1978. In 1978, Evers became a special assignment scout for the Houston Astros. He remained with the Astros until his death in 1991.
And accepting tonight on Hoot Evers' behalf is a current Kahok baseball player, C.J. Schaff. Thank you, thank you. All right, thank you, thank you. So that actually concludes the distinguished portion of tonight's program. And we'll move on to the remaining part of our Hall of Fame inductions. And as you're finishing up your dinner, we would like to thank our sponsors for the evening, including Holland Construction, Redmond Insurance, CMC Rotary, Scuba Duck, the Collinsville Chamber of Commerce, and other sponsors who wish to remain anonymous. Thank you very much, absolutely. Thank you to our sponsors. Additionally, at everyone's table, you will find a program for tonight's event, which celebrates each inductee. Inside each program is a self-addressed envelope that contains information regarding the Collinsville Area Community Foundation, the CACF, and their current initiatives benefiting students, facilities, and our communities. Please review this, and we encourage everyone to make a contribution to the foundation via mail or with the included QR code. We need your support to expand their reach and their impact now and into the future. Next, for the remaining portion of tonight's induction ceremonies, we will have the recipients come on stage, and since we finished our meals, one recipient will speak after the video plays. And our first induction in this portion of tonight's ceremony is Unit 10 District's first girls team state championship. An athletic inductee, the 2010 girls bowling team.
To date, the 2009-2010 Collinsville High School girls bowling team is the only IHSA state champion girls team in Collinsville's history. In addition to the championship that year, the Lady Kahok bowlers set a record for the highest pinfall in state finals history. They also had the distinction of being the first team in the state tournament to have all 8 girls on the roster bowl and win the tournament. Their accomplishments that year included the Southwestern Conference title, the Kahok Team Challenge champions, the Abe Lincoln Invitational champions, the Elite Six Invitational champions, the Panther Team Challenge champions, sectional champions, and state champions.
It was just nice to know that actually what an off day would have been for one of our girls was probably still great for another team. We all agreed, we want to be the best. Throughout the year, I had to make sure I worked in people to make sure that they got lane time, to make sure that if it needed to be called upon, they would be able to perform. We basically went for it every single time we went in the building, and I expected as a coach, no matter who I put in, we were going to win. And I knew in my heart that I can put any of the players that we had in, and we were going to win. Throughout the year, that 8th spot, I rotated different individuals in and out of that spot from the JV team just for the experience to be with that group so they can learn from that group. That group is valuable to learn from. Another interesting fact is if we were bowling in a tournament that had boys going to, the girls didn't want to just beat the girls. They wanted to beat the boys, and they did every time.
These ladies were known for their dedication, integrity, and work ethic. All were honor roll students, many with 4.0 plus GPAs.
This group is just fantastic when it came to the classroom. And as a coach, it's a breath of fresh air to never have to worry about that eligibility report. One of the things that I really appreciate is the fact that I get to be associated with these awesome young ladies. It was awesome to see them go off in life and be successful. A couple of them even started coaching other high school teams. So that kind of thing to coach against them was cool, and just to see a lot of what their character was shine out.
The 2010 CHS girls bowling team was inducted into the Southern Illinois High School Bowling Conference Hall of Fame inaugural class in 2018.
I'm absolutely proud of everything that they've accomplished.
And that 2010 team was coached by Sean Hay and Joe Lejeune, along with teammates Belinda Hardis, Sarah Crafton, Courtney Brunsick, Amber Burns, Chelsea Waters, Catherine Beecham, Francesca Steiner, Elizabeth Beecham, Lisa Graham, Emily Gunter, Sarah Bell, Brittany Warner, Katie Hartman, and Katie Crafton. Please welcome to the stage the 2010 Championship Girls Bowling Team. One second. Yeah, you gotta get an award and then a photo. Congratulations. And then maybe real fast photo. So if you want to step forward with mine. Down there. All right, thanks. Now don't go anywhere. We're all good. And speaking on the team's behalf is Elizabeth Beecham.
Hello. Thank you. I'm excited to be here tonight and speak on our behalf. Everything I'm about to say, you've just about heard it, so I'm going to go ahead and repeat a little bit of it, but not make you sit through it. But in preparing for this, I went back through the archives, and it brought back a lot of memories and a lot of joy. It's almost 13 years to the day. As you've heard, the girls are at the state tournament this weekend, and hopefully we'll be bringing home another state championship. Yeah, we can clap for that, yeah. Of the 9 tournaments that we competed in that year, including state, we brought home the championship in 8 of them. And a couple of the tournaments, we nearly outpaced the men's field, as Coach Hay said on the slide. Once we got on the lanes, we were truly unstoppable. And then that year at state, we broke the record for the highest women's total in the tournament's 60-plus year history. And we're also the only team to ever use all 8 bowlers on our roster and win a championship. It was a true team effort, but I would be remiss not to mention Franny. Franny won the individual state women's title that year and helped us bring home this victory. We couldn't have done it without the support of our families, friends, teammates, and coaches. In closing, we, the 2010 Women's State Bowling Team, thank you for the honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame along with all the incredible people here tonight. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you, Elizabeth. Congratulations again. If you wouldn't mind walking off stage to our left, and then we do have boxes for your awards right there. So if you'd like to put those in a box for safekeeping. And anyone who received an award earlier tonight in the distinguished portion too, if you'd like a box for your award, please feel free to come up and grab one at any point this evening. All right. Our next inductee for the evening is a distinguished inductee, Mr. Matthew Welch.
A 1910 graduate of Collinsville Township High School, Matthew Lewis Welch was at the center of many events in the early 20th century that helped shape the community we know today. Welch was a member of the high school's first boys basketball team, which began with the 1907-08 season. Playing that first year in Temperance Hall, and the second and third years were in the new high school. In addition to basketball, he was also a member of the baseball and track teams from 1907 to 1910.
It wasn't just his high school days, it was all the way through his life that he was active in different things in the community.
He continued his education at Illinois Wesleyan University School of Law, where he played on the conference champion baseball team. Later, he returned to Collinsville, where he practiced law for nearly 58 years, 50 of them on Main Street. In 1916, he and an associate collected data on Collinsville residents, which they compiled to create a Collinsville City Directory. In 1917, Welch was among the first 11 men to be drafted from Collinsville for service in World War I.
He was eventually promoted from starting out as a private to a first lieutenant when he was finally out of the military. So he had a degree of leadership that was developed that way.
When he returned from the war, he was a founding member of Leighton Evett American Legion Post 365 and served as its first commander. Welch was a charter member and held leadership roles in many local civic endeavors and fraternal organizations. In 1941, he served on the committee to build the gymnasium on the Vandalia Street High School campus and was active in the creation of the Collinsville TP. In addition to his law practice, Matthew Welch served as Assistant State's Attorney, Collinsville City Attorney and Corporate Counsel, and President of the Madison County Bar Association. He was honored by the Illinois State Bar Association with the title Senior Counselor.
When we'd have supper, he'd discuss not about cases, but he'd discuss about ethics and what an attorney had to do and how to act and what to be.
Matthew Welch died in 1984 at the age of 93.
And accepting on behalf of Mr. Welch is Paul Welch. out of your way then. Thumbs up, thank you. Lois would have asked me to stay in, but it's all right. Yes. Anyway, and then your remarks, please.
I'd like to thank the Collinsville Community Unit 10 to honor my father in this manner. Ironically, right now, 2 days ago, my father's birthday was on Valentine's Day, and 2 days ago he would have been 100 and I believe it's 31 years of age. So unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, having died in 1984 at the age of 93. My family, my sister Lois, my brother Tom, and I had the pleasure of having as our father, that with his age, he was able to pass on much of the history of Collinsville. And with us being born during the 30s and 40s, we had about 45 years to listen to, speak about things, how they were, and what he did, and what was the procedures and the like, as well as to watch him be very active in the city of Collinsville. To us, it just became natural that he would be gone for meetings, and we didn't really understand that until we look back. We just thought that was the normal thing that people happened. But we did enjoy the reminiscing and the other discussions that we had. He also had the unique opportunity to meet and know and be friends with many of the people who are being honored tonight. Ironically, he was, when he came to Collinsville in 1901, he was a bat boy on a local tavern team that had as a shortstop Arthur Fletcher. So Arthur Fletcher was the starting shortstop and my dad was the bat boy. So he developed a relationship with him and followed Art Fletcher through his successful baseball career. He really enjoyed the activity that the different organizations had. He was very active in those organizations. And we appreciated our time with Dad. We enjoy our reminiscing. And now we are the ones that are responsible for passing on these 133 years of experience that we have had since my dad's birth. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Paul. Our next inductees for the evening. It is an athletic induction, the 1981 boys soccer team, coached by Jim Strands and Charlie Suarez, along with teammates Randy Hensler, Todd Zamoroni, Jay Hook, Brian Rising, Ben Birch, Steve Giacoletto, Mark Mahat, Dave Holloman, Russ Self, Alan Rayte, Brent Hartman, Rich Hensler, Jeff Lamoureux, Eric Mitchell, Rob Dorman, Jerry Modulin, Mark Kirkemeyer, Tom Grimm, Matt Massa, John Bone, Ralph Ferguson, Bobby Tejada, and manager Dan Coma.
The 1981 Collinsville Kahok boys soccer team was the first Kahok soccer team to win a state championship. They finished the season with a record 24-2-2 and won 3 state tournament games by a total combined score of 8-1. The Kahawks started the 1981 season with 12 straight victories.
They came into their senior year and into that season totally focused. They were going to be state champs. You could feel that.
However, it was during that winning period that the Kahawks suffered a big loss. Striker Bob Tejada broke his leg and was out for the rest of the season.
I hit a lot of adversity when Bobby Tejada, some soccer people in the area considered one of the top players in the area, went down with a broken leg against Alton. The next day we had a meeting and we had a lot of heads down. It was the toughest meeting I had to ever lead, but it led to a change of style, and turns out we had more Bobby Tejadas on that team than we thought.
In the state championship game against Glenbrook North, the Kahawks were down by 1 when Jerry Modulin's penalty kick tied the game before the end of the first half. Dave Holloman was the next to score and put the Kahawks ahead.
6 minutes before the end, I'll never forget a ball rolling over to David from the left side. David Holloman took the ball, curled it around the outstretched keeper's arms in the upper right corner, and the game was ours, 2-1.
Tough defensive play from Jerry Modulin, Rich Hensler, Ralph Ferguson, Jeff Lamoureux, and goalkeeper Ben Birch held the Spartans to their only goal, securing the Kahawk victory 2-1. Seniors Jerry Modulin and Matt Massa were named All-State, and Jerry Modulin was also named a Parade All-American. The team was led by Coach Jim Strands and assistant coach Charles Suarez. Coach Strands was named Illinois High School Soccer Coaches Association Coach of the Year. And during the 1981 season, Strands also achieved his 100th career victory.
They were very coachable. They weren't overconfident, but yet they knew that playing well, playing hard, playing their game, they were capable of being state champions.
All right, please welcome to the stage the 1981 boys soccer team. How big is this team? All right. I lost my photographer. Oh, I'm getting out of the way.
This was a heck of an experience for all of us. It was the first time Collinsville won state in soccer. Collinsville is a powerhouse in soccer now. We had a great team. As the video said, Bobby Tejada broke his leg. We were worried about that, but they pulled together, and what an event for everybody. It's life-changing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then speaking on the team's behalf, in addition to those comments, thank you, Mr. Dorman, is Ben Birch. Ben?
Yeah. Evening. So I put this little speech together, and my son goes, "How many pages is it?" And I said, 4 or 5. And he started laughing, and I said, "Well, it's in size 26 font, so I can read it." As most of you have heard on there, that we had 12 seniors on this team. Many of us had played together through elementary school and all the way through the Collinsville Association. But we had a very strong group of juniors and sophomores who helped and took us all the way through the season. I wanted to make I wanted to say something in regards to when we won this state tournament or state championship, that we didn't just win that for ourselves. There was a lot of alumni and earlier soccer players that went through the system, and we won it for a lot of folks. And I thank them for what they did ahead of us and setting the schedule and how we do things and how it is to be a Kahok and how to play. We had, Matt, there was a lot of previous Masses, Hooks, and Kirkemeyers, things like that, going through the system before we got there. And like, for instance, personally, I had Bobby Bellabradic teaching me how to come out and the timing part of it and come out hard and ferociously. Jimmy Della Riva flying around like a cat, trying to make sure I caught every ball around me. But those are the kind of leaders that we had ahead of us, and we were successful also because of them. The last thing, there was a little, or the part of it, we were a little bit destined, and I don't mean that in a cocky way, but as a JV team, I remember beating Granite City South. There used to be 2 Granite Cities, just for all of you. And we beat them as a JV team. And I remember Suarez, Coach Tuna, telling us after that game that that's the first time that had ever happened. So, you know, we all started thinking and we started putting things together. And as we went on, we figured out that we had a pretty good group. We did a lot of things together to keep it going over that summer between our junior and senior years. We had a warshoe camp that a bunch of us went to. There was a gentleman named Dorian, I believe his name was. He had to bring in some ringers to keep up with us. Slobo was the goalie coach, so I had one-on-one with Slobo for a week, so that's like goalie heaven for whoever remembers Slobo. And we would periodically get together just about every weekend or so in the soccer bowl. Some people used to call it the football bowl, but we called it the soccer bowl. And we'd be practicing or playing on that field. Frank Patol, the AD at the time, would come by, tell us to get off. So we'd get off, and then we'd come back after he left. But, you know, what the heck, state championship in mind, right? So we had some other things that fell our direction as well. The first time we got to host a sectional, usually it was held at Granite City South or North. But we finally got the sectional. That's where we beat Granite City South. Thank you, Randy Hensler, for stepping up and taking Bobby's spot on that goal, 1-0. We lost our speedster, as you saw, Bobby, early in the season. And then we had a couple other setbacks. Middle of the season, we lost to Alton and Granite City North back-to-back. And that kind of woke us up and got us back on track. We tied CBC 0-0 playing on SIU East Field, which is as big as a soccer field can be. CBC was the state runner-up that year. We tied Granite City South 1-1 in their field called the Gauntlet. We had never lost our core team, these seniors and the backups here. We theoretically did never lose to Granite City South, which is a big statement. We beat Granite City South 1-0 in the sectionals, and there's some last few memories I wanted to remind these boys of. Some things you can never forget, boys. The dreaded 12-minute runs with Richie Hensler going around that parking lot like he was running the 50-yard dash. The running of those damn hills behind the high school. Todd Zamoroni going, only one more, and we all knew there was like 5 or 10 more to go. We played 2 weekend games at Quincy Senior and Quincy Notre Dame. We played Friday night, I believe, or maybe Saturday, I don't remember. And then on the way in the van, Strands was driving, we hear the radio announcer for the previous game make a statement that that was a Richie Hensler tackle. And he had only seen him play once. He already had named a tackle after him. A couple other things, the look of disappointment on Granite City South, Gene Baker's face when we beat him in sectionals, it's just priceless. The lack of respect we got from the Chicago teams who thought we got lucky and just upset Granite City South before heading up there. The airplane that flew over the field when we were playing our championship game with a marquee, like in lights, circular, saying, "Go Glenbrook North," and I'm like, we are way out of our league here. And then the ride home on the fire truck and the reception thereafter. And again, seeing all those alumni that showed up to say congratulations. There's another inductee, I got a little quote here from him, you probably know him, Coach Fletcher. The difference between a good team and a great team is a little extra effort. Boys, we put forth a lot of extra effort, and we're a great team. We did something special. We'll always have the state championship team bond. We were the first ones to do it. Once a Kahok, always a Kahok. Once a state champion, always a state champion. And now, once a Hall of Fame team, always a Hall of Fame team. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. Congratulations again, 81 team. And then absolutely, if you'd like a box for the awards, help yourself as you head off stage. And thank you for your state championship, for our school, and for your remarks, 81 team. That leads us to our next inductee of the evening. And our next inductee is a distinguished inductee, Mr. Irving Dilliard.
Irving Dilliard's life journey began in Collinsville, Illinois, the town he loved and cherished his entire life, in 1904. He graduated from Collinsville High School in 1923. His main career in the world of newspapers and journalism was with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He was also a teacher, historian, and public servant, and a nationally recognized expert on the U.S. Constitution.
Well, my father always liked history. He was a newspaper man, that was his career, but he liked history, not just local history.
Dilliard worked for over 30 years at the Post-Dispatch, writing thousands of articles and editorials, and eventually serving as editor of the editorial page. In that capacity, he often focused on civil liberties and constitutional rights. One justice, William O. Douglas, said of Dilliard, he was the finest journalist to ever cover the U.S. Supreme Court. Dilliard retired from the newspaper in 1960. The next chapter of his life took him to Princeton University, where he taught writing for 10 years. World War II interrupted Dilliard's time at the Post. At the age of 39, he volunteered and served in England, France, and Germany, and then remained in Germany after the war, where he helped establish a non-Nazi press. While there, Dilliard also covered the Nuremberg trials. Dilliard was also an elected member of the University of Illinois Board of Trustees. He was named the first director of the Illinois Department on Aging, and he served on countless other boards and organizations. He helped found the Collinsville Historical Museum and served for over 50 years on the Collinsville Library Board. In 1998, Dilliard gifted the D.D. Collins House to the city of Collinsville. His mother, Mary Look Dilliard, had lived in the 1830s house for almost 20 years after the Civil War. Dilliard died 4 years later at the age of 97 in 2002. In 1992, Dilliard was asked by the Collinsville Herald about his life and accomplishments and what he'd like to be remembered for. Dilliard said, "I don't believe I try to tell people what to remember me for. Let them make their own decisions. And if they don't want to remember me at all, I can't object to that either."
And accepting on behalf of Mr. Dilliard is my mother, Mary Sue Shusky. Trade. Don't mess up my stuff.
Okay, mine's shorter than yours. Well, thank you, Collinsville folks, city folks, and school folks for the first Hall of Fame gathering. I hope there are many, many more in the future. There are far too many other people to thank individually, so it's a collective thanks, but I have to give one personal thanks to Mark Alvers, because he has spent countless hours with many of us, and also his technical and his skills have helped make this evening possible. Yes, my father's life was one of words, written words and spoken words, but his life was far more than writing and words. It included ideas and action, humanity and generosity, and always, always, always be the best citizen you can for your community. I recently found a personal list of his personal traits that he had jotted down in 1963, values that he considered important for a person's life and well-being. He had jotted them down, if any of you knew him, on a canceled 9x4 business envelope on the back, which I have the original. And he carried that around. He received that in the mail in 1963. These values that he wrote down 60 years ago are integrity, scholarship, inclusiveness, lifelong learning, wellness, accountability, participatory decision-making, proactive change, partnership, environmental stewardship, and excellence. Well, yes, his list is 60 years old, and I have it, and I can share the list with any of you tonight who would like a copy. I think many of his choices were rather forwardly thinking for 60 years ago. And tonight's recipients, I believe, share many of these values of my father's that he considered important. They can use them in their own lives and their own careers, starting with my father's first one, which was integrity, and ending with his last one, which is excellence. In an interview that Marty Richter wrote for the Collinsville Herald when he interviewed my father, Marty once asked my father about his life and career. While my father's words were often simple, they could carry a bit of wisdom with them. And this is a quote from Marty's column of my father's. I've been around the world 2 times all the way. Once all the way east, once all the way west. And I found out it works both ways, either way. I can really hear him saying that tonight, so thank you very much. Thanks.
You have to shake hands like Grandpa. No. You have to shake hands like Grandpa. All right. Thank you. Great job. Jordan has your award. Thank you, Mary Sue. My grandfather also always insisted on shaking hands that way, and he said that it's you double the effort, or you double the value for no extra effort, which I think fits with his values that my mother read as well. Anyway, thank you very much. Our next inductee of the evening was a lifelong friend of my grandfather's. She is a distinguished inductee, Lucille Stamen.
Lucille McClanahan Stamen was a 1936 Collinsville Township High School graduate and is recognized for her work as a Collinsville area historian, helping preserve Collinsville's rich history for future generations to enjoy. In the effort to preserve the then struggling Cahokia Mound State Historic Site, Stamen started the gift shop at the facility. She was one of the founding members of the Cahokia Mounds Museum Society in 1976. Stamen served on committees to raise funds for expansion of the Collinsville Memorial Public Library and was likewise part of early fundraising efforts for what would become Anderson Hospital. But her true love was history, and Stamen became active in early museum efforts at the Collinsville Library. This led to the organization of the Friends of the Collinsville Historical Museum, of which she was a charter member and served as president for 11 years. From old buildings to cemeteries to ketchup bottle water towers, she was all in to preserve and restore our history. She was also a charter member of the Miners Institute Foundation, which acquired the 1918 landmark after its usefulness as a motion picture theater had seemingly passed. Perhaps the culmination of Stamen's local history writing was the publication of the book Collinsville, A Pictorial History in 1992.
She has had a love for history, for the city. Almost everything she was involved with was about service and history. And the history book, I think, was her last big push that she wanted to make sure that was preserved.
She remained active in the Collinsville Historical Museum until her death in 2003. Among the recognitions she received during her lifetime were the Cahokia Mound Builders Award, the Chamber of Commerce Spirit of Excellence Award, the Collinsville High School Alumni Achievement Award, Daughters of American Revolution History Award, KMOX St. Louis Women of Achievement Award, the Lions Club Irving Dilliard Distinguished Service Award, and the Studs Terkel Award from the Illinois Humanities Council.
She'd be proud of the fact that some of the things that are working well now and moving forward were things that she was involved in early on and helped start several of them. So, yeah, she'd be very proud of that.
And accepting on behalf of Mrs. Stamen is Claudia Galaski. Thank you very much. Perfect. Let's grab that for you. There you are.
On behalf of my brothers, Pete, Jim, and Jeff, and the rest of the Stamen family, we'd like to thank the CHS Hall of Fame Committee for choosing our mother to be a charter inductee. It is an honor indeed to enter alongside so many Kahok greats and others who have so well served this community. We give a tip of the hat to our father, Melton Stamen. A school teacher, Dad supported Mom's efforts and was her #1 fan, chief copy editor, and all-round guy to do much of the legwork in her efforts. We dearly miss them both. For our mother to be recognized along with the likes of Irving Dilliard and Don Bitzer, who have made a difference worldwide, is indeed an honor. But in the end, it is also about the good you do in your own little bit of the world. Our congratulations to all the inductees. They have all helped make Collinsville a Hall of Fame community, which the Stamen family is so very proud to be a part of. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Claudia. Now, our next inductee of the evening is an athletic inductee, Joe Reiniger.
Acclaimed professional soccer player Joe Reiniger is a 1989 Collinsville High School graduate, where he was a two-time soccer All-American and member of the 1986 state championship team. He was named the Belleville News-Democrat Soccer Player of the Year for 2 consecutive years. He finished his Collinsville High School career as one of the school's all-time leading scorers with 53 goals and 18 assists. Choosing to accept a scholarship that would keep him close to his family, Reiniger's notable soccer career continued at Southern Illinois University Edwardsville. He was a 4-year starter who became the 4th leading scorer in school history. Reiniger led the Cougars in goals in 3 of his 4 seasons and was named to the All-Midwest team 3 times. Reiniger was selected in the first round of the National Professional Soccer League's draft by the St. Louis Ambush and was named to the NPSL All-Rookie team. He played 13 seasons of NPSL, MISL, professional indoor soccer, and was a 6-time All-Star, scoring more than 600 goals and 1,300 points during his pro career. Reiniger has the distinction of setting records for the longest point scoring streak at 105 and most 3-point goals at 113 in indoor soccer history. During his professional career, Reiniger played for the St. Louis Ambush, Milwaukee Wave, and St. Louis Steamers. He helped the Ambush reach the 1995 championship. He was an integral part of the Wave's 2001 championship and was named MVP for the series. Reiniger was selected to SIUE Athletics Hall of Fame in 2015 and the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame in 2018. In 2015, he was honored at the Bob Emig Foundation Celebrating Leaders in Youth sports event. Since 2005, Reiniger has influenced future generations of soccer players through the Gateway Rush Soccer Club. He is the owner, executive director of the club, which is part of Rush Soccer, the largest professional soccer organization in the country. In addition to coaching, teaching kids of all ages to love the sport that is his passion, Reiniger's named soccer fields in his hometown of Caseyville, Illinois, Reiniger Memorial Soccer Park, in memory of his parents, Eugene and Donna Reiniger.
Please welcome to the stage Mr. Joe Reiniger. Thumbs up. Microphone. I feel like you got a hat trick on that one goal. I'm gonna set this down. There you go.
Hopefully I made the font big enough too to where I don't have to put on my cheaters. So, yeah, that tugs at the heartstrings a little bit. So first I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all my fellow inductees. It's truly humbling to be part of this inaugural class that includes not only amazing athletes and teams, but men and women who've influenced and served our community both locally, at the state level, and even the country. I want to start by thanking my wife, Kim. She didn't know me as a Kahok, but she's been part of my life for more than half of my life. And her unwavering support of not only my playing career, but the last 20 years giving back to the sport and coaching, I can't thank her enough for that. My daughter, Jordan, happy early birthday to my little girl who will be 29 in a couple days. She had an amazing career here at CHS too. She was an all-stater as a junior, but unfortunately her career was cut short due to 3 ACLs of the same knee. So I'm the youngest of 9 kids, 7 boys, 2 girls. All 8 of my siblings taught me at a really young age that I hate to lose. Those beatings and all the losses against my older brothers made me into a fierce competitor, which I credit a lot of my success to. To my mom, CHS class of 1947. Not too many people know that Mom was here before me. And my dad, who are always my biggest fans. Thank you to all the sacrifices that they made to allow me to play this great sport. To all the coaches, there's been a bunch. Gene Johnson, Kerry Russell, Tim Doctor from the club days back many, many years. Jim Strands and Tuna here at Collinsville. Ed Honeyke at SIU. Daryl Duran, Keith Tozer, and Omid Namazi from my professional career. I was truly blessed to have amazing coaches and mentors throughout my playing career. Their encouragement, knowledge, and sometimes tough love really drove my success. Special thank you to all the players that I've ever shared the field with, especially those here at Collinsville. My success on the field is only because of the teammates that I was surrounded by. I was lucky enough to continue to play soccer 17 years after I left CHS. It's hard to believe. But some of my most fond memories are when I look back over the championships in college and everything. Some of my most fond memories are right here wearing the purple and white. From the Mud Bowl, my freshman year, I don't know how many here remember that, but we came in second in state my freshman year, and the only parts of the field that were green were about 5 yards in the corner. It rained for like 3 days straight, but back then you didn't cancel games for a little wind or water. To 86, when we won the state championship. I can still picture the ball going off Tim Johnson's foot into the net in sudden death overtime to win state in 86. And then my senior year playing CBC. I know the 81s talked about playing. They were ranked number 1 in the country. I think they had 6 All-Americans on the CBC team. And Terry Mickler, one of the winningest coaches in high school soccer history, still to this day will say that it was one of the best high school games he's ever been a part of. I could go on and on, but I know we're on a tight schedule. I love stories. Keep going. But thank you again for being part of this inaugural class. It's a big deal. I take it very seriously, and I'm really proud to be a Kahok today. So thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Grab a box. Did you get a box? You didn't get a box. Zach, get him a box. Get him a box. That thing will chip. All right, thank you. Congratulations. Our next inductee tonight is a distinguished inductee, Dr. Donald L. Bitzer.
A 1951 graduate of Collinsville Township High School, Donald Bitzer is a noted electrical engineer and computer scientist. Bitzer received his bachelor's in 1955, his master's in 1956, and his doctorate in 1960, all in electrical engineering from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. He was the co-inventor of the plasma display and is widely known as the father of Plato, having created the Plato computer system. In 1960, the Plato computer system, the first to combine graphics and touch-sensitive screens, would forever change the way people interact with computers. Plato, described as the world's earliest time-shared computer-based education system and home to one of the world's most pioneering and online communities, introduced concepts such as online chat rooms and multiplayer gaming.
Just give us some of the possible applications for the housewife, for example, within the next decade. Just give us some.
Probably within the next 5 to 10 years, you'll be able to have computers in your home which will essentially be terminals attached to a worldwide network. So if you want to talk to your friend, you'll not only be able to talk to them, but send grocery lists or lists of guests back and forth. You'll be able to call people and say, show me what you're doing today. And it will be able to show you the kinds of work that you're doing. You'll be able to make up grocery lists and say, where should I go shopping to get the minimum, pay a minimum amount of cash to get the goods which I want today in these quantities.
And the computer will not only, in other words, you'll choose all the items that you need, all right?
The amounts.
Now you put all that in.
Well, you probably say, I want to buy this, and it would look around and see which has got the best deals for you.
All over and also factor in the gas mileage to get there.
That's right, so you could minimize your costs.
So coming back will tell you which store to go to for the most bargains. Isn't that something?
Dr. Bitzer and colleagues co-invented the flat plasma display panel at UIUC in 1964 for use with the Plato computer system. However, because plasma screens do not flicker, it also became a significant advancement in television technology.
Did not intend it for TV at the beginning. That was an unintended result. We did it to help education, get students, make it easier for them to study. But now that it's improved TV, I'm not so sure that the students might not spend more time watching TV and less time studying instead of what we intended.
The invention won the Industrial Research 100 Award in 1966. In October 2002, Dr. Bitzer was awarded an Emmy by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences for his efforts in advancing television technology. Dr. Bitzer was a professor of electrical and computer engineering at University of Illinois from 1960 until 1989. Currently, he serves as Distinguished University Research Professor in the Department of Computer Science at North Carolina State University.
And please welcome Dr. Bitzer to the stage. Grace us with a few words here, Don? Yes, I've got it. As long as you want. We're way ahead of schedule. Knock yourself out.
Well, okay, can you hear me? Yeah?
Well, as accustomed as I am to giving 50-minute talks from college, I'm not going to do that to you tonight. But I do want to thank the Collinsville Hall of Fame Committee for the work they had did in organizing this Hall of Fame program. It was a great effort on their part, and it worked out very well for them. This program speaks loudly about the greatness of Collinsville in supporting and nurturing its citizens over many years and in all fields, including music, art, science, athletics, and many other professions. There were wonderful teachers, coaches, scientists, and other successful professionals on whose shoulders we all stand. I was very fortunate to have received the very best help in my career, and I'm trying to return the favor to our present young people. For the past 67 years, I've been teaching graduate students how to solve new problems where the answers are not available from the back of the book. I invite young high school students, 16 or older, to join the research programs. It has been very rewarding for me to see these young students grow up, solve important problems, start new companies, and teach new young students. I can sum up my feelings about Collinsville with a very short story that my wife, Mary Ann, told me. When she was growing up and was in a group of young people being confirmed, the bishop was questioning each of them to see what they had learned. When her time came, he asked her a tricky question. What kind of sin is it to live in this area? Mary Ann quickly and loudly responded, it is not a sin to live here, it is an honor to live here. I feel the same way. It's been a very special honor for me to have lived and grown up in Collinsville. Thank all of you for coming tonight to celebrate Collinsville, Illinois.
All right, thank you again, Dr. Bitzer. Our next inductee this evening is athletic inductee Fred Riddle.
Dr. Fred Riddle Jr. graduated in 1961 from Collinsville High School, where he was a football and basketball superstar. As quarterback, he led Kahok football to a 7-1-1 record his senior year, and as forward for Kahok basketball, he was a standout on the 1961 undefeated state and national championship team. He earned first-team All-State football and basketball honors in 1960-61.
Meadows threw the ball away, but Riddle grabs it, misses, tips it in. Boy, that Fred Riddle is quick as a cat under there.
In 1960-61, he averaged 20 points per game. His 24 points for the Kahawks in the state championship game against Thornton out of Harvey, Illinois, helped secure victory and contribute to his honor as the tournament's second highest individual scorer.
A boy that you heard me eulogize along with Tom Kelly and Jack Reese throughout the tournament, an all-state footballer and an all-state basketballer, a great baseballer, a straight-A student. Boy, you're really something. Freddie Riddle.
Well, I can't add anything else.
Not much left, is there? You played a great tournament.
Well, thank you.
What, in your opinion, was the highlight of the entire season?
Right here.
Right here. The Centralia game must rank pretty high.
Yes, sir. I think that was our toughest game of the year.
Toughest game that you played all year. Nice going. Here you want to be a doctor.
I plan on it if I can make it.
You'll make it. Straight A's. You got no cars.
Well,
nice going.
He was one of the rare individuals who continued to play both football and basketball in college. At the University of Iowa as quarterback in 1963, Riddle set a then record in the Big Ten by throwing 5 touchdowns in a single game. He pulled double duty also as he played guard for Hawkeye basketball. Riddle was inducted into the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Basketball Museum Hall of Fame in 1975. Dr. Riddle is currently retired after a 50-year dental career in Iowa City, where he has lived since his college days.
Please welcome to the stage, boy, you're really something, Mr. Fred Riddle. All right, perfect, thanks. I can grab that. Thank you, sir.
How do you follow and act like Dr. Bitzer there, huh? Boy, oh boy, this is something. I just have to tell you, it's just fantastic for me and my wife to be back in God's country here in Collinsville. As a young boy, when my dad was coaching at Madison, prior to him becoming principal there at Madison, I was a little squirt that used to run along and be with the team. And I can remember coming to Collinsville, and Collinsville was the place. Coach Fletcher, the greatest person and coach in the world that we were blessed with. And I'm sitting there as a youngster, but I really didn't care too much about the basketball. I thought the greatest thing in the world was when the chief would come out and do the dance and finish, and it'd be at halftime, the lights would go out, and it'd have the hoop dance and that, and the crowd would go crazy. And then the team would come out and just beat the hell out of whoever they were playing after that. Heck of a deal. That was my dream, though. My dream was to come here and play ball. The one thing that I look at, is that when I came here, I was a 14-year-old boy, and my dad came home and said, "We're going to Collinsville, and you are going to play for Coach Fletcher." And the other thing that I was blessed with was that I knew that I was coming here, and one of my chief opponents was a guy named Bogey Redmond. And he and I at Madison would pair off against each other regularly, and I would get to be his teammate, and he would get to be my teammate. And he and Fred Creedemar made my induction into coming to Collinsville such an easy transformation, and they have become brothers of mine. So, what did we have when we came here? We had a great superintendent. We had a great principal, happened to be my dad. That's why I got A's, by the way, when you saw that thing. And then we had the greatest coach in the nation. And we had a fantastic faculty, second to none. They allowed me to achieve in high school the awards, the honors in athletics and in academics. But now, at near 80 years old, I look back and I say, what was that all about? What was it all about? And I think back and I think, these people taught me the lessons of life, what life is about. They demanded excellence. They demanded perfection. They demanded that you be a gentleman, but also a gentleman. All of those things I was taught at Collinsville High School. They made me a better teacher later on. They made me a better coach later on. They made me an excellent dentist later on. And God willing, they made me an excellent person. So, I'd like to thank my family, especially my wife. Many of you don't know, my first wife passed away. Her first husband passed away, and God's blessed us with a wonderful life together. So, not too bad having your dad as principal, have to admit that too. Have to thank my mom and dad, thank my grandparents from taking leave of Macedonia and coming to this country as legal immigrants, making me the second person in the Riddle family to get an education. I'm proud of that. I'd like to thank my teammates who made everything possible that I accomplished here. Without them, nothing could have happened. I'd like to thank my coaches and the staff. And I'd like to thank the faculty. I'd like to thank the people of Collinsville and all of you here tonight. Most of all, I'd like to thank the people who put this together and decided that there should be a Hall of Fame. It's always nice to be alive when you go into Hall of Fame. I can tell you that all around the nation, people know what Collinsville, Illinois is about, and it's always basketball. Yeah, oh, you played basketball? Yep, I did. But I am so very, very proud of the fact that I played ball at Collinsville, Illinois, but more proud of the fact that I went to Collinsville High School and it made me what I am today. I thank you, all of you that put this together this evening, the selection committee to make me one of the first ones to go in. I can't thank you enough. And what I say is we should continue doing this year in, year out, and as the chief used to say, it's great. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riddle. And our next inductee tonight is also an athletic inductee, Bogey Redman.
A 1961 graduate, George Bogey Redman's role on the 1961 undefeated state and national champion Kahawks basketball team earned him a place in Collinsville High School history as well as state and national recognition. He continued to accumulate awards and honors at the University of Illinois. Redman was a three-sport athlete at Collinsville High School: basketball, football, and track and field. In addition to being one of the leading discus throwers in Illinois, his athletic prowess earned him All-State honors in football and basketball and All-American in basketball. In the 1961 state championship basketball game, an 84-50 win over Thornton High School out of Harvey, Illinois, Bogey was the top scorer with 31 points. He was the tournament's leading scorer with 92 points in 4 games.
Baseline, whips the ball to Redmond, layup, good.
Bogey Redmond, congratulations, boy.
Thank you very much.
I don't know whether or not you know it, but you are the tournament's leading scorer. You were an outstanding performer throughout the tournament and made the interior of the offense really click. Nice going.
Thank you very much.
His performance earned him a spot on the 100 Legends of the IHSA Boys Basketball Tournament Centennial List in 2006. Redmond was inducted into the inaugural class of the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Basketball Museum Hall of Fame and the Illinois Basketball Hall of Fame in 2015. His storied basketball career continued at the University of Illinois, where Redmond is listed on the Fighting Illini Basketball All-Century team. He played basketball for 4 seasons, including as part of the team that won the 1963 Big Ten Championship. Redmond also competed in track and field during his time at Illinois. He was the Big Ten discus champion his senior season of 1965. Bogey Redmond was selected in the 10th round of the 1965 NBA draft, but chose to join his father in the insurance business in Collinsville, where he was an agent with State Farm for 42 years before retiring. In 2007, his son Kai opened Redmond Insurance Agency, and Bogey joined the team. Active in local civic organizations and endeavors, Bogey became as respected in Collinsville for his caring nature and community leadership as he was for athletics. A mainstay in the front row at Kahok basketball games, Bogey Redmond continued to support and influence the Kahawks until his death in 2021.
And accepting on Bogey's behalf is Kai Redmond. Thank you, perfect.
I'm worried about that font size, a few have mentioned.
And the light's terrible.
That's a little bright. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is great. Brad Skirtich, thanks for driving us. Good evening. A quick note of appreciation for the opportunity to be a part of tonight's inaugural Collinsville Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Additionally, sincere appreciation to the Collinsville Hall of Fame Board of Directors and the Nomination Committee for your hard work to see this endeavor come to fruition. My father, Bogey Redmond, would be humbly honored to be selected for induction into the Collinsville Hall of Fame, as the list of inductees tonight is truly impressive. As a freshman at Collinsville High School, Bogey was rail thin and gawky in his freshman year. He told me many times he would put on layers of clothes to hide the fact that he was so skinny. But then he began to grow and fill out. Boy, did he. By his junior year, his body matured, as did his basketball skills under the strict disciplinarian of legendary coach Virgil Fletcher. Bogey loved Coach Fletcher and considered him a second father. The Collinsville Kahawks have one of the richest and proudest high school basketball traditions in the country, and all the great players and men who have been a part of that rich and glorious tradition over the years. The 1961 season was such a special time for Collinsville community, with the ultimate achievement, a 32-win and 0-loss season, widely considered the top high school basketball team in the nation that year. Congratulations, Joe, Ron, and Fred. And handily winning the state championship basketball tournament in Champaign, Illinois. I talked to my father so many times about this over the years, and there was never a reference to him personally or his play. Every conversation was about how good his teammates were, the wonderful coach they had in Coach Fletcher, excuse me, and every student at Collinsville High School and the entire community. And it was never about Bogey. He loved Collinsville, he loved the Kahawks, and he loved Coach Fletcher. Excuse me. In his last number of years before his passing in 2021, he cherished going to the Kahawk basketball games. He was very appreciative of how so many would stop and say hello. Collinsville High School administration and staff, and Clay Smith for assisting he and my mom with parking and getting to their seat, as my father had trouble walking in his later years. Additionally, Coach Darren Lee for engaging him every time we were at a game and giving Dad the opportunity to go into the locker room and say hello, to speak to the team. And driving home, Dad would be jabbering nonstop, which made us both feel appreciative. Many associate Bogey with athletic accomplishments in his younger years. However, all who knew and talked to Bogey got to see a unique and wonderful man that inherently represents all that is good, genuine, caring, humble, compassionate, and with unconditional love and a heart of gold. His positive glow and big smile affected everyone around him, and how he simply lived every day of his life is a shining example of a great man, father, mentor, grandfather, uncle, and friend to many. Congratulations to Fred Riddle, Joe, and Ron this evening, and every player on the 1961 team for your induction this evening, as well as all inductees, both individuals and teams. Thank you.
Thank you, Kai. And I think appropriately, our next inductee this evening is also an athletic inductee, Virgil Fletcher.
Virgil Fletcher's legendary career as Collinsville High School boys basketball head coach spanned 32 years. He was also head football coach for 20 of those years and coached cross country and track for the Kahawks. Renowned for coaching basketball, Fletcher led the Kahawks to 747 victories. Fletcher took a record 14 teams to state, winning 2 state championships in 1961 and 1965 and 20 conference championships. He fashioned teams with 20-plus wins in all but 5 of his seasons at Collinsville. He was famous for the 1-2-2 ball press defensive strategy that became synonymous with Collinsville basketball. Fletcher was Illinois National High School Coach of the Year in 1972. His many accolades also include member of the charter class of the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Basketball Museum Hall of Fame in 1973, and the greatest 100 in Illinois State Tournament history in 2006. He has been included as one of the greatest high school coaches of the 20th century. Fletcher's strict expectations for athletes extended to their personal lives. His manifesto, "So you want to be an athlete at Collinsville?" included do's and don'ts, training expectations, and a binding contract requiring each player to agree to abide by his rules.
Coach was tough. I mean, you were going to do things his way, and he demanded that, and that, I think, led directly to the success that we had. The thing that I thought he was just tremendous at was individual motivation. He just knew the right words to say to motivate each guy on our team.
The current Collinsville High School gymnasium was named for him in the mid-1970s when the South Morrison campus opened. As stated in a 2022 article from the Collinsville Daily News, the legacy of Virgil Fletcher will always be part of the Kahok basketball program, and his influence on both the team and the community is still felt today. Virgil Fletcher died in 2009, just one day shy of his 94th birthday.
And accepting on Coach Fletcher's behalf is Mike Fletcher.
Get your box, as long as we get a speech. Thank you for everybody putting this together. I know this is not an easy thing to do. It's a lot of times, I know putting together organizations like this is like herding cats, and done angry cats. In listening to the people who have been here, Mr. Bitzer, hearing about Irving Dillard, all the people who have been here, if you were not proud of being from Collinsville and being a Kahok, you should be now. I'm here because my sisters made me, but they did tell me to make it brief. They know me too well. I'm my mother's favorite son. Well, for those who know my mother, I'm in the top two. I'm here also for my brother Mark, my sisters Marita, Marlene, Marcy, and Marion, all CHS graduates. I don't know what else I can add to what my dad did with the great players that he had. The contract's an interesting thing. I really think you won't find that in many coaches, that they had their players sign a contract, nor will you find many coaches who gave poetry to their players. If some of you remember, you all received the Rudyard Kipling "If" for young boys. He had an interesting way of making you believe that you were better than you probably were. I noticed, they had, I had forgotten that he had an 8-14 winning record. There was a period of time, if you played 4 years at Collinsville High School in basketball, you went to the state tournament at least once. It's incredible to think that you could have that sort of success. But the reason it was is because of all of his players, all the teachers, all the citizens. He changed the times of the games on Fridays to 8:30 from 8 o'clock, where they played every place else, so that the business people could close their stores and get to the games. He had a lot of different ways to do things, and not only did it result in wins, I think it resulted in helping young men become better people. And I'll close because my sisters told me to stop. To me, it's kind of an interesting thing is that, I've been to Orlando for him to be an inaugural inductee into the high school Hall of Fame. I've been to Las Vegas for him to go into a Hall of Fame. And I was thinking when I know I was coming here to speak, I think this would be his favorite. And the reason I say that is because he's being honored by the people who knew him, who enjoyed his successes, who supported him through all the years. So I think it is special when the people who know you best honor you. and I thank you for the honor for my father. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. I feel like I have always felt pride in being a Kahok and being from Collinsville, and I have to completely agree with you, Mike. I have never felt more pride than right now after tonight's program, and we still have more to go. And our next inductee this evening is also a distinguished inductee, the Honorable Mr. John Shimkus.
Former U.S. Congressman John Shimkus graduated from Collinsville High School in 1976. While at CHS, he was active in many clubs and sports, including Student Council, Executive Board, baseball, and wrestling. Shimkus is a 1980 graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in General Engineering. Following more than 5 years on active duty in the Army, John entered the Army Reserves. He retired with the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in 2008, concluding 28 years of military service. Prior to starting his political career, Shimkus was a teacher at Metro East Lutheran High School. Shimkus's first elected public office was as a Collinsville Township trustee in 1989. Next, he served as Madison County Treasurer from 1990 to 1996. Shimkus was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1997 and won 12 consecutive bids for re-election. Due to redistricting, he represented the 20th, 19th, and 15th congressional districts of Illinois between 1997 and 2021. During his 24-year tenure, Representative Shimkus focused on policies that enhance our nation's energy security and public safety. He was a proponent of biofuels and renewable energy, and an advocate for child safety, including booster seat testing and placement of heart defibrillators in schools. John Shimkus continues to reside in Collinsville. In 2021, he joined the political science faculty at Southern Illinois University Edwardsville as a guest lecturer. He is a partner with the business development and consulting firm KBS Group, as well as a part-time administrator at Holy Cross Lutheran School.
I think John has made the biggest difference in this area by representing with integrity. When people hear about Illinois, they think of corruption and they think of Chicago politics. And we have heard from more people from being downstate that John Shimkus is a good guy, whether they're Republicans or Democrats or whatever. He's a Christian. He wears his faith on his sleeve unapologetically. He's military and he believes in the whole discipline thing, and he loves his family. John has done a lot of things, legislatively, he's done some great things, but I think just representing truthfully and sincerely and standing up for what he believes is where it's at.
Once a Kahok, always a Kahok.
Please welcome to the stage Mr. John Shimkus.
Sorry, you're doing a great job. All right, thumbs up.
I will get my cheaters out. It happens to everyone. Ryan Sidwell is in the audience. His son Braden asked me if I played baseball with Arthur Fletcher. As the part-time principal of Holy Cross, I hope I haven't aged that much. My great-grandfather was the janitor of Columbia School. My grandfather was a sausage stuffer at the meat packing plant. What a great country we have. By introducing my guest, I weave the story of my life and thank all who are involved. Ruth Bittner, class of 46, my parents' era, she also worked in my congressional office. Dora Rowan, graduate of East St. Louis in 1962, but actually lived close in Caseyville, worked in my treasurer's office and my congressional office. Joan Green, class of 74, is my sister. with her husband Bernie, who graduated from Althoff High School in 1975. My family was very supportive of my pursuits. Mark Mestemacher, class of '75, and his wife Carol, who graduated from Naperville High School in 1978. Mark and I wrestled together for 3 years. The Mestemachers were very supportive of my pursuits. Randy Duff, class of '76, we played baseball together for 9 years. He loved my parents. Lisa Schultz Durham, class of '76, I'm the class of '76. We were classmates for 13 years attending Holy Cross Grade School together. Mark Greer, Trinity High School, 1976 and 1980 from the United States Military Academy at West Point, and his wife Jennifer, who graduated from Kirkwood High School in 1980. Obviously, West Point and my military experience was very important, and I appreciate them coming. Jean Holton is another sister. She graduated in 1980. My wife, who you saw in the video, graduated from the Interlochen Arts Academy in 1980. We have been married for 35 years. We have 3 adult sons. Maria Maxwell, she graduated from Sacred Heart Griffin in 1988. And her husband Brad graduated from South Harrison High School in 1989. Maria worked on my campaigns and then the office. Our tables are way over there at the end. Last but not least is Congressman Rodney Davis from Taylorville, Illinois, who graduated from Taylorville High School in 1988. He worked on my campaigns. We campaigned together. He worked in my office, and then he had a successful decade as a member of Congress. I want to thank the organizers of tonight's event. I only wish my mom and dad were here. I will end with Philippians 4:20. Now to our God and Father, be glory forever and ever. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. I also have to tell John thank you whenever I ask. He shows up and is a guest speaker in my classes, so it's always wonderful. Our next inductee tonight is an athletic inductee, Mr. Tom Jager.
Thomas Michael Jager was born and raised in Collinsville, Illinois. He attended Holy Cross Grade School and graduated from Collinsville High School in 1982. He began his swimming career at the age of 8 at Gaslight Bath and Tennis Club in Collinsville. While attending high school, Tom won the Illinois State Championship in his freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior years. Tom received a swimming scholarship to UCLA and went on to win 7 Olympic medals for the United States, 5 gold medals in relay events, an individual silver medal for the 50-meter freestyle in 1988, and an individual bronze medal in the 50-meter freestyle in 1992. Jager is also a former world record champion, having set the 50-meter freestyle world record on 6 occasions during his swimming career.
Jager, here they come. It's going to be so very, very close. And touching first is Jager, and he has broken his world record, 21.81. Twice today, he has shattered the standard.
This record was held for over 10 years, from August 1989 to June 2000.
Watch the world record holder, Tom Jager. He is in the yellow cap. Now, he set this world record of 22.12 last August in Tokyo.
As the medal count rose, Jacobs, Dalby, Jager, and Biondi raced to yet another world record in the 400 free relay.
Jager was inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame in 2001. He is a member of the UCLA Athletic Hall of Fame and the USA Swim Team of the Century. After his competitive swimming career, Jager became a coach. He served as the head swimming coach of the University of Idaho and head women's swimming coach at Washington State University. He currently lives in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and is head coach of the Aspen Swim Club.
And accepting on behalf of Mr. Jager tonight is Peggy Butler. almost. All right, thumbs up. Thank you, thank you. Peggy, do you want to say a word? All right, thank you. And we'll also have a video message from Tom in a moment.
Glasses to different glasses. You know, I was listening to all of this. I'm certainly amazed by the wealth of abilities and talents and all the credit. I've learned so much tonight. I also kind of want to hit on what Clay said earlier. I think we have to share all these traditions. Sometimes I've been coaching the Kahawks swimming for about 20 years, and I had practice Tuesday night and said I couldn't come Thursday because I was going to be here. And my freshmen, they didn't know who Tom Jager was. And I was like, oh, you're kidding. So I think it's really important that we share these. Growing up, I know that watching Tom swim was one of the most amazing things. I have, you know, not unlike basketball, swimming's a little different. And I look through this room tonight, Mark Shusky. I remember him being a little Gaslight Gator. I also look around at these tables. Almost every table has somebody that has a swimming connection here, which is amazing. And the inductees, two of the bowlers from the first group, the Crafton girls, both swam. The extended Welch family all remembers growing up with Tom and swimming. Kai, we swam, spent a lot of time with Bogey there. The Shimkises, I worked with them. And a later inductee, Michelle Barsh. We all have very tight swimming connections, so I just felt like that should be shared. The other thing is, as a coach, I've been up to state a couple of times, and it's amazing to me, and all of Tom's accomplishments that you saw while he was a Kahawk, you know, in an individual sport, he made state freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year in more than one event. And you only get to swim two. And he was mixing them up a little bit from free and fly, but it was always the 100 back. And each time he swam, he set the state record. Those records have been broke now, but he did have them for a long, probably until like the 90s. He still had all of those records. So I'm very honored to accept this for him and put in a little plug for how great Collinsville swimming is.
Congratulations. Thank you, Peggy. I still have a lot of 8th place, like lime green ribbons from my Gator days. Lloyd Dunn yelling at me in the morning. Anyway, so we also have a message from Mr. Jager.
Hello, Collinsville High School and the Collinsville High School Hall of Fame committee that voted me into the inaugural Hall of Fame for the Collinsville High School. It's an honor. I appreciate it. Thank you for thinking of me. I always loved representing Collinsville High School. We would put together a great relay that would try to make the swim state meet, and we would go to districts and we would have a soccer player, some great friends, but Joe O'Donnell was a soccer player, John Reed was a baseball player, Craig Gallmer was a football player, and I happened to be the swimmer. And so we would go up to Springfield and try to make state every year, and we never really made it, but it sure was fun, and I loved being a part of that part of Collinsville High School. And then I loved representing Collinsville High School once I got to state. It meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to show what people can do downstate. And you guys know what I'm talking about. That, you know, go up to Chicago and whoop on them. I had some fun. So it was great years. My mom was my coach. That was cool. So fond memories. The basketball games were great to go. Collinsville High School basketball is always number one. I think about that, going to the games, going to the pizza afterwards. So I want to wish all the Collinsville athletes out there now, the world is open to you. Fortunately, I was able to go from Collinsville all over the world, and I think you guys can do that too. You got to have a dream, you got to have a commitment, and so good luck on your endeavors and good luck on your journey, and thank you, Collinsville, for being such a great foundation for my career.
Okay, and thank you to Tom for sending in that message. And our next inductee this evening is a distinguished inductee, Mr. Richard Mark.
A 1973 Collinsville High School graduate, Richard Mark has had an exemplary civic and business career and has always kept the Collinsville community in the forefront. At CHS, Mark was a 3-year Kahok football varsity letterman. His junior year, he earned second-team honors in the Metro East Journal. His senior year, he was named to the St. Louis Globe Democrat All-District team, as well as first-team honors in the Metro East Journal.
I remember when Lloyd would talk about Richard, he would say, he's one of the finest defensive halfbacks I've ever had. He's got all the qualities you want in a defensive back, and he's a hitter too.
A football scholarship took him to Iowa State University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in early childhood education. Mark returned to Collinsville after graduation, took a job at Children's Center for Behavioral Development in East St. Louis, and became a Kahok football assistant coach. He became Vice President of Government Affairs, Chief Operating Officer, and eventually President and CEO of St. Mary's Hospital. After 11 years in hospital administration, Mark became the first African-American Senior Vice President for Ameren, Missouri, and first African-American Chairman, President, and CEO of Ameren, Illinois. During his 20-year career in the energy sector, he was credited with increasing corporate philanthropy efforts and championing diversity.
I think of Richard Mark in Collinsville and in the area. It's like a hidden jewel. No matter how much people try to pull him away from his roots, from his passion for the community and for the Collinsville area, he reminds people, whatever we're going to do it in this area. He believed in pouring back into the community, and that's what he's been able to do. And that's why I think that Collinsville ought to be so blessed and so thankful to have this giant in our community amongst us.
He helped modernize Illinois' electric grid and natural gas infrastructure, and oversaw the move of Ameren, Illinois headquarters to Collinsville in 2019. Richard Mark retired from Ameren, Illinois in 2022. In October 2022, the City of Collinsville presented him with the key to the city and announced that Executive Way, the road on which Ameren, Illinois' headquarters are located, will be known as Richard Mark Way.
Please welcome Mr. Richard Mark to the stage. All yours.
Well, thank you. It is emotional to watch that video, but I'd like to, first of all, just congratulate all of the other inductees tonight, and this is just a great opportunity for Collinsville and for Collinsville High School to have a Hall of Fame. And I'd just like to thank and recognize Dr. Brad Skurdage and his team at Unit 10 for the vision to create a Collinsville Unit 10 Hall of Fame, and also thank and recognize the Board of Education for empowering and supporting Brad and his team to make tonight possible. So let's give them a round of applause. I'd also like to thank the selection committee for nominating me and choosing me for this award tonight. And also I'd like to recognize my family who is here with me tonight. My wife, Missy, my wife of almost 43 years. Missy, and my son Fontez and his wife Mindy, and my grandson Joshua are here, and also my son Joe and his wife Allison, and my grandsons Connor and Jordan are here with me also. So thank you for I thank them for coming and their years of support. You know, it's always an honor to receive an award and recognition, but this one is especially meaningful and really emotional, because to be recognized by your own community is special. And I've lived my entire life in Collinsville, and it's a place where my mother's family and also my father's family have lived since the 1880s. So receiving this award has given me a chance to kind of reflect back on growing up in Collinsville and remembering the people and also the experiences who played a major role in my life and in my successes. So when I was notified that I was going to receive this recognition, my first thoughts, went back to my parents, Joe and Cleola Mark, who stressed the importance of education and discipline and following rules that really made a foundation for my career. But also the Collinsville schools that provided that education that was important to be successful. And when I thought back and reflected about my time at Collinsville schools, I had to think about Teresa Billy, Zinni Herring, and Everett Singleton at Webster School, who reported my behavior and sometimes misbehaviors directly to my mother, who lived down the street. And then Gino Catalpa and Frank Patol patrolling the halls and the gymnasium at the old high school in Vandalia to make sure we all got to class in time and weren't goofing off. And then to those, my coaches in high school, Mario Belletti, El Eschman, and Lloyd Dunn, who instilled discipline and preparation, and the importance of preparation on the practice field, and specifically on the hill down at the new, what we called the new high school on South Morrison. You know, I was thinking about that, and I wrote new high school down, and then the next day I got an invitation to my 50th high school reunion. So I guess I'm going to have to stop calling it the new high school. But Collinsville schools prepared me for my success and provided me with that great education in order to be able to be successful. So I'd like to say that I'm proud to be a Kahok and say thank you for this recognition tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Our next inductee tonight is an athletic inductee, Michelle Barsh Hackley.
A 2008 graduate of Collinsville High School, Michelle Barsh Hackley is a professional volleyball player and Olympic gold medalist. She was a multi-sport athlete at CHS, earning all-conference and second-team all-state honors in both volleyball and basketball.
When it came time to make a decision, you know, she could have absolutely played both basketball and volleyball, but she knew she had to commit, and her heart was with volleyball.
She could have gone to college and been Division I basketball player. She was that good. She was that talented, and from day one, we knew she was a volleyball player.
Steve McFall was never very fond of players leaving mid-season to go do things, other sports, but she was going to the junior nationals, preparing to be a member of an Olympic team, and he looked at me and said, I can't tell her she can't do that. That's her future.
In addition to excellence in athletics, she graduated in the top 10% of the class of 2008 and was voted most likely to be an Olympic medalist by her Kahok classmates.
I would talk to the girls, you know, what do you want to do after high school? She always said she was going to be on the Olympic team. And I'm like, okay, you can do this.
At the University of Illinois, Barsh Hackley was named the AVCA Mideast Region Freshman of the Year, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and was placed on the Big Ten All-Freshman team in 2008. Barsh Hackley helped lead the Fighting Illini to the NCAA Tournament Sweet 16 from 2008 to 2010 and to the National Championship match in 2011. In her professional career, Barsh Hackley has been a member of several international volleyball teams and earned honors. She became a U.S. national team member in 2016 and was named an alternate to the U.S. women's volleyball team at the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. In 2021, Michelle was a member of the gold medal-winning U.S. women's volleyball team at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. She started every match and was named co-best outside hitter of the Olympics.
Gold medalists and Olympic champions, the United States of America. Michelle Barsh Hackley.
Michelle Barsh Hackley was inducted into the U of I Athletics Hall of Fame in 2020.
And please welcome to the stage, Michelle Barsh Hackley. All right, Michelle says she has a really long speech, so.
All right, it's either me for 30 seconds or my dad until tomorrow, so you're welcome. I just want to thank everyone for being here today, and thank you for this honor, and have a good night.
Thank you, Michelle. Lily didn't even have her award boxed up. Got it? Michelle can help. Michelle, just like smash it in there. Okay, this takes us to our last inductees of the evening. I don't want it to end. I kept thinking this is going to go on so long. My bedtime was like an hour ago. Oh my gosh. I could be here 3 more hours. These stories are amazing. Our inductees are amazing. And our last inductee, also amazing for this evening, is an athletic inductee. It is the 1961 boys basketball team, coached by Virgil Fletcher and Burt Weber, along with team members Bob Basola, Than Burkett, Harry Hildreth, Ronnie Matakaitis, Al Temple, Marvin Meyer, Bob Simpson, Fred Riddle, Bogey Redman, Ronnie Motton, and Bob Meadows.
The 1960-61 Collinsville High School boys basketball team was an undefeated state champion at 32-0 and was crowned the #1 high school team in the nation that year. The 1960-61 Kahawks are remembered as one of the finest teams in Illinois high school basketball history. Under the direction of fabled coach Virgil Fletcher, the team included 2 All-Americans, Bogey Redman and Fred Riddle, who served as co-captains. After a 2-point victory in the Super Sectional against Centralia, they swept their final 3 opponents by an average of 34 points. In the Illinois State Championship game against the Thornton Wildcats, the teams were tied at 14-14 after the first quarter. According to a legendary story from Kahok history, Coach Virgil Fletcher called timeout and told the boys, "You know what to do, you're just not doing it." At the final buzzer, Collinsville outscored Thornton 84-50. On January 14th of the 61 season, the Kahawks became the first American high school to win 1,000 games. They were the originators of the famous ball press defense. At the time, the 1961 Kahawks were considered one of the best shooting teams of all time and the greatest team to ever play high school basketball in Illinois. During their historic season, they averaged 77 points per game while allowing only 55. This was prior to the 3-point field goal being added to high school basketball. They were the 5th team in Illinois history to secure an undefeated season. The team was recognized by the Basketball Museum of Illinois in 1973 and was awarded the Whitey Herzog Award by the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame in 2018.
To Brennan, long two-hander, in and out. Collinsville has won it.
And up goes Virgil Fletcher for the traditional victorious ride. Virgil Fletcher being carried about the basketball court by his victorious Collinsville team. Collinsville state champions for 1961, and believe me, there was no doubt about it.
And accepting on behalf of the 1961 boys basketball team are Joe Brennan, Ron Matakaitis, and speaking for the team is once again Mr. Fred Riddle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. Anyone who has speech? You want to say a few words? Okay. You want to say any words? All right. Dr. Riddle, all you.
Well, the 2 others didn't want to speak, so they left it up to me, so you get the privilege of having me twice tonight. Before I talk about our team, I'd like to just say one thing a little bit about this evening. John Shimkus was up here prior to me talking about being a West Point graduate. My son coached at West Point in football for 6 years there. I had a lot of times that I got to go there, and I'm going to tell all of you, especially you young people, but even those of us that are a little bit older than the high school people now, that is a place that you must go to see the history of this country and how blessed we are. So, John, thank you. Well, folks, 1961. Oh, what a year, what a year. What happened? The Collinsville Herald even printed that on the front page. But we need to take a look, and I want to take you down a little bit of a journey and how it started and where it ended. The journey started off the previous year. Collinsville High School, #1 in the state, playing on their own home court in the sectional finals, loses to Granite City, Illinois, many of my ex-teammates from Madison. You want to talk about a group that were depressed. But that set in motion what would happen next year. And next year, we start the year off, we have a football team that loses one game to East St. Louis, the final game of the season, East St. Louis, the national champions. Our coach happened to be a guy named Virgil Fletcher. So coach didn't miss a beat. We come in and we're sort of honked off because we thought we should have won the game and we didn't play very well. And he says, okay, those of you that are going to be playing basketball, I expect you in the gym tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. That was our post-game speech. And we all knew we better be there at 10 minutes to 8. So Bogey Redmond, Bobby Meadows, Fred Riddle have the privilege of setting in motion for those of you young people in the back that will be coming back to Collinsville in athletics, a goal. We lost one game in football and basketball for that year. I want you to set a goal to beat that. Next year, the year after, whenever it may be. I may be gone by then. But that, I want you every year to set a goal that you will never lose. So we start off the season, 8 o'clock. Coach Fletcher closes the door. We're in the gym. And he sits us all down and he says, if you don't think you can win the conference championship, I want you to get out of here. And nobody got up, left, because, my God, we were supposed to be #1 team in the nation, or in the state that year. But then he finishes it up. He says, and if you don't think you can be the state champion this year, I want you to get out of here right now. And nobody moved. And he said, okay, we're going to start. So he set goals and expectations for us, just like you need in life. The goal was to be a state champion. The expectation is to work your butt off and do everything perfect so that you could accomplish that, and to understand that you were capable of doing that. We start the year off. We keep our #1 ranking. Just before Christmas, Bogey Redmond breaks his leg. So now we're minus our big center, our star. What in the world is going to happen? Everybody's thinking, ha-ha, because everybody hated Collinsville because Collinsville always won. So everybody's thinking, oh, what in the world are we going to do now? We got a chance at them. So we get that second game. We're playing in the Collinsville Invitational Tournament. And we're playing Litchfield. And Litchfield is up about 20 points at halftime on us. And we are stinking up the place. So we're sitting in the locker room, and we're in the locker room there, and they come in, 3 minutes, no Coach Fletcher. Now, all of you that know Coach Fletcher know he was cool. I mean, he expected you to do things, didn't raise his voice, no profanity, none of that stuff. 2 minutes, no Coach Fletcher. With about a minute, we're looking at each other, said, hey, you think maybe we ought to go up? Something happened, or what's the deal? We better go up. With about a half a minute to go until they start the second half, he comes into the locker room and looks at us and hits the blackboard, and it shatters. Totally out of context for Coach Fletcher. And we're sort of looking around, and he said, I'm going to tell you guys something. You are stinking up the place. You are going to go out there and press the entire second half. And nobody at that time pressed unless you were behind in a game. And he said, you're going to press the entire second half. I am not taking you starting five out of there. And you can die on that floor. I will let you lay on the floor and not substitute anybody for you. So that's what's going to happen. So we go out there a little bit motivated. We always knew that if we had a bad weekend game, the Monday practice was going to be hell. So we go out there, and God knows how. But we tie Litchfield and go into overtime and go into sudden death overtime and beat Litchfield. And we come into practice on Monday, and Coach says, what do you guys want to do for your defense? We used the old 1-2-2 Porter court defense, didn't have to run the court too much, slow down game. And he said, do you want to go back to the old 1-2-2, or do you want to use the full court press? And we look at each other, and I think I was probably the spokesman at that time too. I said, Coach, we're not stupid. We want to press. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the beginning of the ball court press that transformed Illinois high school basketball. He took us, a team that had never done that for an entire game, and took all of the different parts. And it wasn't just the starting five, it was the other five and the other two or three that were always involved. And he took us and molded us together like a complex machine so that all the parts would fit. If somebody would screw up, somebody else knew how to cover their rear end, so nobody knew. When we made that press, everybody thought it was a 1-2-2 press, full court. Well, sometimes it was a 1-2-1-1. Sometimes Bogey and I make it a 1-2 and a man-to-man in the back. The other team never knew what was happening. It transformed the game. We missed Bogey for 9 games. He came back. He got the privilege of being the point guard on the press, which was Bobby Meadows' job normally, to get him in shape to chase the ball everywhere the ball went on the court. Bogey got in shape real fast. So then we go on, and we end up, as you all know, winning the state championship. But let's take a look at some of the things that happened in that season. Litchfield, Illinois. Litchfield, overtime, sudden death, we beat them. They get the privilege of playing us 3 more times. And the last time, the Ides of March. So all the St. Louis papers, that's the tournament for going to state and the regional. The Ides of March, they're gonna beat us. Well, I think they lost by 40-something points. We got a little bit better as the season went along. Then we went to Centralia. Everybody remembers the Centralia game that's old enough, one of the greatest games in Illinois history. We did not play the best game we'd ever played, and they played a fantastic ball game. And after the game, coach says, hey, you know what, we're going to state. We made it. Every so often, God needs to give you a little bit of luck. We made it, and he said, you need to play the way you normally play. And we go up to the state tournament. We end up winning that. Think about this, during the season, this team scored 70 points or more 28 out of 32 games. Think about this. This team, The closest anybody came was within 2 points Centralia. 28 out of 32 games, we beat our opponent by 10 or more points. We got to the state tournament. Coach sort of took us into the gym beforehand, and you know the old movie where they measure the thing, it's 10 feet from the ground and 15 feet on the free throw line. Coach did that. He said, it's no different here, guys. Now play the way you know how to play. So we go in, and we're playing the number 2 team once again, Rockford East. There's no way in the world they'd want a Southern Illinois team to win the state tournament. So we're playing Rockford East, and they've got their 6'9", 6'7", 6'6" front line, 6'3" guard. And everybody thinks they're going to beat us. So we only beat them by 23 points. We had a bad ball game. The next game we played Peoria Manual. We beat them by 37. We get into the championship game. And everybody now in the newspapers and all the news is saying Collinsville can't do this. They can't play 3 games in less than 36 hours and full court press the entire game. They were so stupid that they didn't realize how smart Virgil Fletcher was and what he had put us through. We had gone through 3 practices a day. 1 before school for 45 minutes, 1 during lunch hour to shoot your free throws for a half an hour and have them counted, and then the regular practice from 2 o'clock, 2:30 until 6 o'clock, where about the last half of practice, the first team and second team would square off, and the first team at first had to beat the second team while Bogey was hurt 10-6. Then when Bogey came back, we had to beat him 10-4, and then it became 10-0. So that's why people said, why'd they pile it on? Because that's what practice was like. Practice makes perfect. So we go into the championship game, win that by 34 points. So ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the 1961 Collinsville basketball team, the greatest team in the history of Illinois basketball. Not because we beat everybody so bad, but because we also transformed the game of basketball for the state of Illinois high school. Thank you.
He stole my script. He was pressing. So those are all of our inductees for tonight, and I know we've applauded a lot. I have to say, I am in awe of every one of you who came up onto the stage tonight, of all that you did, of teams and individuals, of distinguished and athletic. Unbelievable. Every one of them deserves our applause one more time. Thank you for all you did for this town. For the school district, for this country, for us. Thank you. I also have to very quickly also beg for one more round of applause for our high school students who helped bring kids or inductees up. You guys did a phenomenal job. Thank you, thank you. I'm in awe of what we've accomplished in the past, and I am absolutely hopeful for what we will accomplish in the future with the likes of you. So, thank you for all of you for attending tonight. Please mark your calendars for the next Hall of Fame induction ceremony to be held on February 15th, a year and a day away. No, less than 364 days away, 2024. Nominations for the Hall of Fame class of 2024 will open this summer on June 1st. And I have one more thank you that I have to give. When my mother came up and in her remarks said that she thanked Mark, I had brief hopes, and then she mentioned Mark Alvers. Understandably so. Of the angry cats that were herded to make tonight possible, and again, and we have said their names, but to all of the people who spent so many hours, and I witnessed some of that, and I know didn't witness as much as happened, so many Unit 10 people and city people, and so many people who made tonight happen behind the scenes. Thank you to all of them, but absolutely especially those videos. Thank God you didn't have to listen to me talk more than I did, and we were able to watch those videos. And so Mark Alvers, thank you so much for all of your work on those. And so finally, we would like to invite everyone to attend the home basketball game tomorrow night against Alton to tour the Hall of Fame and cheer on our Kahawks. All of these videos from tonight will be available for viewing in the Hall of Fame area at Collinsville High School, also on the CUSD 10 YouTube channel and the district website beginning tomorrow morning. This concludes our inaugural Hall of Fame events. Have a wonderful evening and congratulations.